So I just wanted to mention that because I think sometimes people think that when you're really positive or you're looking at things, oh, I guess rejection is God's protection. That's one of the lines I like to use, that, okay,
Yeah.
well, maybe some things just suck. It's like, yeah, some things suck, but are you going to sit there and just sit in the suck forever?
Correct. Well, you said something really important there when you said, I'm going to let myself wallow or sit in the funk, but I don't want to be that person. A lot of the time, we think a negative thought is that we are being that person. It doesn't mean it's who you are. It just means that it's a natural part of an emotion that needs to be released. Otherwise, if we keep pushing it away, that becomes a shadow self.
Right. Because it's not realized emotion.
Correct.
How do you, it's funny. I'm kind of referencing this episode, this 40, reflection episode where I was talking about, and I kind of became aware that I think because I was an empath, I am an empath. I didn't know that I was an empath until about a year and a half or 2 years ago. I never knew, until I started this show, and I went, wait a minute, it was like the light bulb turned on. And I think that for my whole life, probably, I think I shut down a lot of feeling too much because it would have been overwhelming for me.
It is really overwhelming when you've got that skill, that ability,
Right. And I never
and no one's
knew. And
teaching you how to use it.
exactly. So how do you undo all of that? I know the Palladian, maybe the heart healing is a good way of getting started.
The
I
heart healing
realized,
is, but
yeah,
it's
go ahead.
also learning some techniques on developing that skill, and it's like zooming out. So when you first realize that you're an empath, it's like, oh my God, I can feel things. This is
Makes
amazing.
so
And
much
we feel it at, say, 150%. And I say you don't need to feel it at 150%. You can actually feel it at 50% and still get the same information. You don't have to absorb that other person's energy completely to understand what's going on. Because what
right.
you're doing there is you're absorbing that energy from them, and they learn to dump it onto you. And then what are you doing? Are you cleansing? Are you disconnecting from them so they don't have that permanent cord on you? So every time they get rattled, they're either calling you, messaging you to go, this is happening, this is really terrible, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh my God, my senses are feeling assaulted here, right? It's like you
Yeah.
zoom out, and you can still be there. You can still be supportive, connected, and understand emphatically at 50%.
Well, I cleanse and cut cords all the time, and I do my salt bath, and I do my like, believe me,
Beautiful.
I'm all over that because it is like really important. But what's fascinating to me is sometimes I'll have an interaction with someone and then I'll go home and I'll be second guessing my part of it, or I'll be doubting something. And then sometimes I have that voice pop in which goes, girl, this isn't your stuff. You're just taking on someone else's insecurities or anything. And then
Yeah.
I cut my cords and then it normally goes away. It never occurred to me that I could set a boundary. I'm still learning, I guess, about
Yeah.
being empathic, that I can set a boundary in terms of what, because I feel for me, like with my mediumship and my psychic and stuff, I turn that on, I turn the
Yeah.
medium, I look for it or whatever. But with the empath stuff, I
The
never.
same. When
Right.
you're like, just think of a light switch and then think of a dimmer. You switch it on and you can dim low.
Okay.
Really simple. And it's the same energetically and empathically as well, emphatically, sorry, as well. You can tone down or dim that intense energy exchange.
That's so awesome. And one thing I learned recently is you can also up, if this person was talking about the lever, but you can up a lever for, financial abundance or, anything
You
like that.
can dim it up, make it higher as well for whatever you're wanting.
Yeah. And I've made it higher before and it sent me off the loop-de-loop. So I have to
So
be very aware
that's the
that.
thing with everyone's like, they'll come and see me. They go, I want to clear all this karma and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, karma's really easy to clear now. We're moving into the age of Aquarius. It's getting really easy and easy to do. So, but I say to them, part of it is a learning curve. And we need this learning curve to consciously understand as well, which allows us to energetically understand.